Hello everybody, how are you doing? Welcome back to the Cymru Nerd Cave. I hope it's going very well for you in this weird lockdown period that yeah, we're currently still in and might be in for a while. So, you know, buckle up lads and lasses and everybody. It's a weird one, but there you go. We'll get through it. We'll get through it. In the meantime, let's have a look at another annual, but not this time another Masters of the Universe annual, regardless of what shirt I'm wearing today. This is going to be one of my other major fandoms that I am involved in, and it is Transformers. This here is the Transformers annual from 1986, published in 1985, because that's when these things were. But this is the one for 1986 that we would have had, and it's very cool. It's very weird. It's very British because there you go, and it really does reflect some of the early stuff that sort of we had in Britain as Transformers fans. It wasn't the same as America at the end of the day. We had much more free reign for stories, and obviously we didn't always get a lot of the American stuff as you got it. We saved it up for a few months, and then obviously we'd have it in sort of weekly installments, whereas you guys would get it in America at least in monthly installments. But like I say, very, very different, bit weird. Annual stories always have a tendency to sort of have this weird disconnect, but we'll have a look at that in a second. So yeah, 1986 Transformers annual, let's go. So here we see the Transformers annual in all its glory, and as you can tell, turn here. Ooh, bit far away, come on now. 1985 by Hasbro. So this would have been the 1986 annual. And look at it. It's very, very nice. It's got some old-fashioned toy art on there. It's a bit weird because it's sort of half in and half out. So you've got Optimus Prime looking like Optimus Prime, but very toyetic, but not. Sunstreaker there. Very, very toyetic. And Jazz with the very toyetic face. Look at that. I love that. So old-fashioned. And I got a couple of Seeker Jets up there, but they're not important. And it's got the old-fashioned Transformers right with the heroic Autobot on there. And that annual, lovely stuff. Now, look here, it's not world distribution, it's Grand Dreams. It was Marvel and Grand Dreams, so they always did their own annuals, and it's the Transformers, yeah? On the back, same art, but it's got that lovely little Grand Dreams logo at the bottom there, which I love, and an ISBN. There you go. Open it up. Oh, come on now, open it up. Not that page, this page. So, like I say, you've got a picture of Optimus Prime that you can colour in. That the person he belonged to, Paul Price. Hello, Paul, if you're watching. He's probably not watching. So he's kind of coloured in Prime, but Paul must have been quite young because he's not coloured in him very well. But there you go, that's what happens. But this is Optimus Prime, noble leader of the Autobots. He can transform himself from a tractor trailer into a robot. And of course you've got the Autobot Decepticon logos that you can colour in, and the Transformers logo that you can colour in. No price, someone snipped it off. So obviously it was a present that nobody wanted to know what price it was. In the first page, or the first pages, you've got a nice spread there with some nice lovely box art describing some of the Decepticons. So you've got Starscream, Megatron, Ravage, Skywarp, Soundwave. Now then, okay. Who's that? Everybody says Frenzy because that seems to be what people think. It's not, it's Rumble. You see, this is why I say it's Rumble. Because every annual I've ever had, every book I've ever had, and every comic I've ever read has said that is Rumble. We didn't get the cartoon as much in the UK. And there's Laserbeak. Not as good as Buster. But lovely art nonetheless. And then, the Autobot side, they've actually gone with the spread that you had in the Marvel comics, which introduce the Autobots and their powers. Now, they did have one for the Decepticons, but they've chosen not to use it. Few weird things here. Look, Ironhide is his toy form. Huffer looks terrifying. Look at his hands. I mean, they do some damage. Bumblebee, yeah, he's not great. Ratchet there, sort of half in and half out of his toy mode. And the weirdest one is Gears, because they never seem to get Gears right in the comic. That's not what Gears looks like. I mean, pretty much at all. But for some reason, they were sent out that that's what Gears looked like, and that's how they drew him. So, there you go. But other than that, it's just... it's the lame Marvel descriptions. So, as I only require a drop of fuel to run, I am ready and willing to explore this entire planet, Optimus. The Ark has reported that much of it is water, and Bumblebee here loves to loosen up his levers with a good swim. It's that's just how they introduced characters back then. Not great at all. And now we have a story. The Autobots have come to town. So the story basically is the Autobots go to the White House there, look, to talk to a president. I wonder who that could be, Mr. Reagan. They go to talk to President Reagan to say, look, we're Autobots, we're good guys, we're nice. Optimus Prime there with his very toyetic face. And the Insecticons come and decide to basically say, let's kill them all, Autobots. So, yeah. Look there, look. In the name of the Autobots, kill them all. Not good. Script, Simon Furman, of course. Mike Collins and Jeff Anderson with the art letters. Richard Starkings. Colours, Hart. I don't know who that is. And editor, Sheila Cranner, because Sheila Cranner was the editor of Transformers at that point. Very good artwork in here, though. It's Jeff Anderson and Mike Collins, so you know it is really good stuff. Toyetic, because that's what the early comic strips were. You know, this is very early days of Marvel UK drawing Transformers. So you have things like Megatron with the gold body there, and the big massive helmet head, because that's basically what he looked like, and Soundwave with a very toyetic face, especially there. Look at that, great stuff. But yeah, the Insecticons cause havoc, and it turns out that it's Ravage controlling them. Before we get onto that, though, Transformers name and face match. So if you want to pause it and you want to do that, then do it. It's pretty simple. If you're a Transformers fan, easy peasy poo. But yes, the Insecticons basically frame the Autobots. The Autobots kind of were expecting trouble because you've got Prowl and Warpath sorting things out in the town of Washington, where the skyscrapers. I'm not sure if there's skyscrapers in Washington. There could be. I don't know. Anyone from Washington, let me know. Some very good pictures of the Insecticons, but they're not toy accurate. They're sort of more their Diaclone versions, because that's probably all they had to go on. But very nice picture of Prowl there. Let's take him. And then find the exact outline of the fastest Autobot cliff jumper, because at that point he was supposed to be the fastest and also the most paranoid, I guess, as well. And then we actually leave the comic strip story for a story missing in action. Now, like World Distribution, Marvel and Grand Dreams tended not to say who wrote these stories. I think this was John Grant. It's either John Grant or it's Furman, and I'm not entirely sure. What I do know is that picture of Rumble smacking the crap out of Drax haunted me for years, because it's pretty brutal. If you see, he's punching a hole straight through him. And also, what's going on with Drax's face? What's that about? And that's Rumble. It is meant to be Rumble, it says, until he ran into Rumble. But this story would get carried on in the next annual, because Drax basically gets made non-functional. These two jokers here nick off with him. And then this kid, they basically dump him, and then this kid finds him. And the story is continued on page 30. I don't know why they did this, but anyway. It's an unscrambling puzzle with the Decepticon jet on there. Can you work it out? Apparently, it's they quickly burn up their fuel. That's what it says down there, and I can read upside down. You've had the Autobots, and now it's the Decepticon turn, basically. Match the face up with the alt mode. Get pretty simple if you're a Transformers fan. There you go, if you want to pause it. And then here's a very famous story written by Simon Furman, art John Stokes, letters Starkings again, colours Gina Hart, sorry it's Gina Hart, I do know that, and an editor again, Sheila Cranner. There Shall Come a Leader, all about Optimus Prime taking command of the army. Very important story, introduces a few characters, in particular introduces that guy who is Emirate Zaron, and it also introduces High Councillor Traken as well. And it's all about the Autobot leaders relinquishing control of the Autobot army to Optimus Prime. And like I say, it's really nice art in here. They had a kind of nice style of sort of drawing Autobots back then. And Optimus Prime here is lovely. I really like that. I like this as well. Very Star Wars. Compensate for wind vectors on Cybertron. I don't think there's wind on Cybertron, but never mind. But it's all about Optimus Prime taking control of the Autobot army. And then again, ruined in the middle by putting the text story. It's the continuation of the text story we were looking at earlier on. But the kid here in Inferno's arm, really nice picture this. I love that picture. Very atmospheric. British Transformers stuff was always very atmospheric. And although it's toyetic, it also looks very sort of plausibly good. Well, that kid there is basically traumatized but obsessed with Transformers after he is rescued by Inferno from a burning building. And in the next annual, which I am sure I will have a look at very soon, that basically continues the story of him trying to find the Transformers. We'll have a look at that. Then you go back to There Shall Come a Leader with Blue Streak. Blue Streak there, getting nearly killed. But not getting nearly killed, because whoever was trying to save him there, and I forget who that is, but Blue Streak is saved and he isn't. So Blue Streak, like Blaster, swears revenge. This picture, very famous, used in a few annuals after that. Optimus Prime striding with purpose. And then basically just takes over the Autobot army, has a massive battle with the Decepticons. Really good picture of Megatron there. I really love that. That one as well is quite good. And again, that's quite an iconic picture. Remember when I said they drew Gears weirdly? They kept doing it. Basically at this point, the story turns into Bridge on the River Kwai, because Gears is supposed to destroy the bridge. Again, is that Gears? It really isn't. I don't know why. I'm guessing they just received weird pictures of him and in like a style guide or something. But anyway, the bridge is blown up. Optimus Prime wins his first battle. Windcharger saves him and stuff. And yeah, the war begins in earnest. Much like the Decepticons, match the Autobot robot and vehicle. Again, if you're a Transformers fan, this should be no problem for you. We're still only halfway through, because we've got a game. They used to do this in annuals, in British annuals. They used to have games in the middle where you could play them. I guess some people could photostat them as well, so have a look at those. But yeah, we're only halfway through. These are very good value, because again, you get another text story. This is a fantastic picture. Look at that. I mean, it's basically box art put into a situation, but it works really well. And this is all about Bumblebee wanting to see some action in battle, and he gets more than he bargained for, because that's what happens with Bumblebee. So yeah, they're in the South American jungle and they're having to get something from the South American jungle. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but a good picture of Prowl there. And really toyetic art of Bumblebee fighting a snake. Do you know what? I really love that. I really like the old toyetic art, but then I grew up with it, I guess. But it's just a really stark image. I really like it. Huffer's Word Maze. It's a word search. Another good picture there. I think it's twin twist. It's either twin twist or top spin, isn't it? With Prowl. Is a better look at it. Like I say, the art in these very, very nice. Again, no clues to who wrote the story. John Grant again, I think, possibly. Hound scrambled word message. Come on now. It's not that difficult. The answer's there if you really want to know. And then we continue from page 18. The original story. With the Insecticons. The Autobots have come to town. That's what it's called. Now then, some weird stuff in here because Shrapnel basically kills Prowl. Sort of. I mean, that's yeah, it looks like he's been hurt a lot there. I don't think he is. But they did seem to have no problem with putting Autobots and Decepticons in permanent states of, shall we say, stasis. Because they seem to have no problem with it in Britain. They just reset them at the end of the day. One nice thing about this story, though, Roller's in it. Roller's in it, and Roller does what Roller does, which is reconnaissance and being where Prime can't be. And also, they do something that's in the tech specs of Optimus Prime, and we shall have a look at that in a second. Lots of action, not much time. Dialogue. Warpath hits Shrapnel, blows him up. It turns out that Ravage is behind the whole thing. He's controlling the Insecticons, who apparently don't have minds of their own at this point. They haven't been infused with the creation matrix. They're just shells. So Ravage is controlling them, and he controls Bombshell to try and put Cerebro Shell in Optimus Prime. And the plan seems to be going well. Until Kickback blows up Roller. Now, in the tech specs for Optimus Prime, it says that any part of Prime that's hurt, including the trailer and Roller, basically hurts Optimus Prime, like Tomax and Zaymot. So that hurts Prime. Does Roller getting blown up? He ducks. Therefore, Bombshell barrels into Ravage, plants him with a Cerebro Shell, and then it turns out, because Ravage was controlling Bombshell, Bombshell had no mind of his own, but now Bombshell is controlling Ravage. Ravage is left without a mind of his own. Haunting. When you're a kid, that is haunting, especially that image of the mindless Ravage just standing and stalking in front of Bombshell. That's really good. I love that. British dystopian comics. Love it. And then there's an epilogue, which is a really sad epilogue, but it is basically the comic versions of Transformers, like forever and ever and ever. So basically the guy says to the president, can you not trust them? And Reagan basically goes, nope, can't trust them. Can't trust any of them. They're all as bad. So yeah, the Transformers, Autobots not trusted, Decepticons basically win. Love it. British comics, eh? And then you've got Ratchet to the Rescue, which is a maze, shall we say. And then you've got an answer page with all the answers to the quizzes and stuff that you had. And finally, a picture of Megatron that you can colour in. Paul has chosen not to do so. Shame. But that's it. That's your Transformers 1986 annual. Really good stuff in there. If you want to know, as a fan, say in America or anywhere else in the world that isn't Britain, or even as a fan sort of 35 years removed, what life was like or what it was like to be a Transformers fan in Britain. We got some of the American stuff, but this is the sort of stuff we got year on year. So you would get the Transformers magazine, or the Transformers comic, and it would continue to keep coming out, and it was great, it was lovely, but this is the sort of stuff we got year in, year out, and it was fantastic. And there's loads of them. There's loads more annuals I can go in. So I will continue to do so. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. It is appreciated, and I will keep making more of this type of stuff, more of this type of content if you're still happy with it. In the meantime, please do take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye for now. Wash your hands and stay indoors. Bye for now.